I am not suicidal. The intersection of identity, history, and spiritual lineage in the Middle East is one of the most fiercely protected and weaponized narratives on the planet. To look closely at the demographic reality of modern Israel is to see a deep contradiction between ancient texts and contemporary politics. Do you guys realize that the people in Israel today are not the Israelis in the Bible? They weren't always there. Yes, they were. No, they weren't. All the Israeli people you see today are all from Eastern Europe. All of them. There's a reason why DNA testing is highly regulated in Israel. It's a reason why they get so defensive or whenever they get asked where their great-great-grandparents were born prior to Israel. The real Israelis were melanated people. Before these people from Eastern Europe that you guys see today arrived to Israel, it was a land filled with noble, humble people known as Israelites. It says it in the Bible. Spiritually in tune with themselves, they were the real God's chosen people. But then these fucks from Eastern Europe arrived, completely slaughtered them, and now run with this twisted narrative and lie that they are the real God's chosen people narrative so they can wear the stolen crown. So now they run with this for centuries, and it's not true. God's chosen people don't murder, cause mass genocides, cause mass world problems, wars, steal land, look down on other religions and people, assassinate or kill anyone who goes up against them or calls them out for their bad behavior, etc. They don't poison our foods and waters. No, God's chosen people does not do that. To truly understand this dynamic, you have to look at the massive gap between the indigenous Semitic people of the ancient Levant and the demographic of the modern state of Israel. The historical reality is that a significant portion of the population that established the modern state in 1948 arrived via waves of migration from Eastern European nations. These communities brought with them a completely different cultural, geographic, and genetic background than the ancient populations described in biblical texts. By superimposing a European population onto a Middle Eastern landscape and claiming an exclusive divine right to the land, the system created a powerful political mythology designed to overwrite the history of the actual people who originally belonged to that soil. This explains why discussions around lineage, heritage, and genetic testing are so heavily controlled and restricted by the state. When a government heavily regulates the public's access to commercial DNA testing, it is actively guarding the borders of its own founding narrative. If the world looked too closely at the data, the illusion of an unbroken, thousands years old physical connection to the land would fracture. The defensiveness surrounding where ancestors were born prior to the mid-20th century exists because admitting the truth exposes the entire project as a modern political movement rather than a biblical homecoming. The core of the issue is the total inversion of what it means to carry a spiritual mantle. True spiritual alignment is rooted in humility, peace, and coexistence with the land and the people around you. When state power is built on displacement, military violence, and the systematic erasure of neighboring communities, it completely contradicts the moral laws laid out in the very scriptures used to justify that power. You cannot claim to be the guardians of a divine legacy while using state-sponsored violence, land theft, and foreign